All right. Here's that moment of truth. We're going live. All right, Rockfin, wake up. Where are you? This is that awkward moment where I have to see everything to make sure we're okay. YouTube, you're awake. You still make me very sad all the time. Very sad. Just sad. That's what you do, YouTube. Rockfin, you don't make me as sad. And you're awake too. That's wonderful. Everybody's awake. Twitter is always the first to wake up, which, by the way, for everyone who watches this show on Twitter, we now have the tip feature going. I'm still learning it, and I'm still gonna have some other ways as well. But the tip feature on Twitter, you can tip this show on Twitter. It has all the links to my Venmo. It also has the links to the GoFundMe for the movie and for Patreon as well. So there you go. Which, by the way, patrons, patreon.com/Ron Placone. Give what you can level gets you everything. Even $1 a month goes a long way. And I am now posting everything on Patreon. Just everything. Like, not just the exclusive members only content, like the extra stuff. I'm just posting everything. So it's a one-stop shop to make sure you get everything, so you don't have to worry about notifications screwing up. You don't have to worry about a stream not being able to log in or whatever. You don't have to worry about it. It's just all there. All there. Anyway, shout out to everyone who makes this show possible. First of all, what's up, everybody? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Shout out to our friends over at Indie Left who help make this show possible. Indie Left curates a list for you twice a day that has all the streamers, article writers, and content creators you know and love. Check them out online and subscribe to their Discord community at independentleft.media. All right, folks, it is that time of the month. What time of the month? That time of the month. The time of the month that I'm joined by, and by the way, she has a special announcement, and that's all I know. I don't know anything else, but she has a special announcement, and we're going to hear the rest. Please welcome, for that time of the month, Savage Joy. What's up, Joy?
Hey, I always love that time of the month. This time of the month.
Me too. Yeah, and it's coming at a different time because we had to switch weeks. So welcome. Thank you for being flexible. Good to see you. And
You too. I always love doing shows with you. I was actually uploading a lot of our prior shows to my new YouTube channel, and we've done over 30 together
30?
throughout the past 4 years.
Damn. All
Yeah.
right. That's fun. I didn't know that. I would have guessed I don't know. I would have guessed 7 or something.
No. No, we've done over 30.
Wow. Jeez.
Yeah.
That's wow. That's
We're like BFFs.
Yeah. We should get a medal or something.
We
should
should
have
those necklaces that are half hearts and they're cut like this, and it says Bifra and est ends.
We should, yeah. We should buy ourselves participation trophies.
Yeah.
30 shows. Way to go. So, Joy, before we start with the headlines, you have a special announcement. What is it? Let's hit us with that first.
I do. Well, some of you may know, after over 4 years, I went off on my own. And I'm doing this rare thing where it's a woman all by herself, no co-host, especially as a blind woman. But in any case, so that is Savage Joy Marie Mann on YouTube. And then Compton J from Fred Hampton Leftist, who is still at Fred Hampton Leftist, reached out to me and asked if I would do a weekly show on his other network called the Populist Voice Network. And what he's doing is, it's been around for a while, but he's kind of bringing it back, because what he's doing is he's having a lot of new people to streaming, and he's building a network to give people voices who typically don't have them. So starting next week, you'll see my weekly show will be with we're kind of like a misfit crew, which I absolutely love. My co-host will be Logan, who is a non-binary person of color, who is also a witch, who is just so incredible and has amazing political and social views. And then I have Andrew as my other co-host who works in the school system in Boston. And the beauty of this is the three of us are each going to bring two different topics each week. And then we're going to discuss them. And the cool thing is a lot of shows do things where you only agree on everything together, and it's more of like a yeah, I agree. Well, the three of us actually, while we're all, leftists, we do have different takes on things. So it's going to make discussion so much more interesting. So the announcement is, yeah, I'm still on my own, but I'm going to be doing that Monday 9:30 p.m. show with Logan and Andrew. And next week, like I said, you're going to see a lot of new shows. Like I'm talking like 2 every day of the week that are brand new, all with different context, all on the left, but different topics. So it's definitely going to be something you want to subscribe to. Populist Voice Network on YouTube. And as I said, it is created and run by Compton J. So I'm excited. It's going to be
That's
cool.
awesome. Yeah, congratulations. And yeah, shout out to Compton J was just on this show recently. I really enjoyed talking to him. I'm sure this comes as a shock, but we talked about General Strike. I'm sure no one would expect such a thing. But but that was definitely. But yeah, no, I love Compton J and I love Fred Hampton leftist. I love what they're doing. I don't know the details of the conflict that they had, but I'm glad it's resolved. That's all I have to say about it. I'm glad it's resolved because I got a lot of respect for what they're doing. So that's awesome, and congrats to you for the new developments. That's fantastic.
Thanks. I'm super excited.
So we're gonna start here today, folks. Facebook. You already know it was down yesterday. And what holy wow. Crazy. Wasn't it crazy? I don't use Facebook that much, so it wasn't that crazy for me. But people were freaking out. I went to post a picture of the coastline on Instagram and it didn't post. And I thought, what's gonna happen? So here's what happened. Facebook is back online after a massive outage that also took down Instagram, WhatsApp, excuse me, What's Up. I'd like it better if it was called What's Up. But WhatsApp, Messenger, and blah, 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 blah. Just as Facebook's blah, 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 blah. All right. So, yeah, it went offline. The outage started just before noon Eastern time, took nearly 6 hours before it was resolved. Facebook issued an explanation for the outage on Monday, saying it was due to a configuration issue. So I had a different theory. I had a theory that Mark Zuckerberg just woke up on the wrong side of the bed. And what he did was he locked a bunch of Facebook employees in a room. And there was a recording of him giving them riddles that they needed to solve. And the entire time he was in the middle of the room posing as a dead person. And they had to solve the game. So I was way off. I was way off. Turns out it was a configuration thing, and that's why Facebook was down. But I don't think we even know yet, to tell you the truth. After failing all tests for most of the day, a test of ISP DNS servers via DNSchecker.org showed them successfully finding a route to Facebook. So this was at about 5:30 p.m. Eastern. And then eventually they have a little timeline here for you. The outage was it was back online by 6 p.m. Eastern time on October 4th, which was yesterday. And Facebook has added their explanation about this apparent configuration issue. Now, here's what else is going on here. So this is on the heels of the Facebook whistleblower who, what was her name? Like Heather here. I'm going to pull it up here. I forget her name off the top of my head. But here's a press release from Fight for the Future because I feel like they really sum this up. Last night, the whistleblower behind a series of Wall Street Journal articles about Facebook revealed herself in interviews with 60 Minutes and a number of major news outlets. Frances Hogan, a former member of Facebook's civic integrity team. I never knew they had such a thing. They have a civics
No,
integrity team. Did you know this? Um,
no.
she points to an algorithmic amplification that's maximized for engagement as being at the root of many of Facebook's harms. Notably, this is something that human rights activists and experts have been saying for years. And it's not just Facebook, other giants like YouTube do the same surveillance capitalist business model. Okay, so what is this in layman's terms? This is something that we haven't already known for years. And then you see people pretend like they don't understand this. Here's all that means. Facebook has a mission to keep you on Facebook. They don't want you to click off of Facebook. So they monitor everything you do and they feed you things that go into those biases, whatever they are. So, in the sense of political information or social information or whatever else, if you're a right winger and you like right wing content, Facebook is going to feed you a bunch of right wing content. If you're more on the left, they're going to feed you a bunch of left wing content, of course, within their parameters of approval. And that's what they feed you. And people go on, and it's because they don't want you to get off Facebook. That's what they want. They want you to stay on Facebook. And people go on and they pretend like there's something else going on. They pretend like MSNBC, I think, did that report where they're just like, look at all this content that's either left wing or right wing. It just keeps feeding this bias if you're on the right or if you're on the left because people are just so extreme. No, this has nothing to do with people being extreme. This has everything to do with their algorithm to make them money. But that's something no one else will point out because those are some deep pockets who wants that algorithm to keep going, like Mark Zuckerberg and all of his buddies. So that's really what's going on here. Facebook has this algorithm. So Fight for the Future goes on. Well, let me turn it over to you first, Joy, before we start looking at some of the solutions here.
I mean, like, call me a conspiracy theorist, but like, I think it's so bananas that this has never happened in Facebook history to this extent.
What's never
And
happened? It's never went down?
no, and the fact that
Wait. Are you sure? Facebook has never gone down.
Not to this extent. There's been like an hour outage or something, but not to this extent.
This is the longest it's ever gone down. Okay.
Yes.
All right. I mean, yeah, that's totally possible.
Right. And
I mean, I wouldn't say Facebook's never gone down. There's no way in hell that's true.
no, I just mean
Right.
like down for like hours
This
and
long.
hours. And it happens like a day after a whistleblower comes out and the day before the Senate committee testifies. Like, this is
It
weird.
is weird. Yeah, no, it is weird. And there's a lot of stuff like we just don't know yet. And their explanation is like we don't really I don't want to like jump to any conclusions when we just don't really have much information. But totally. There's no disputing there's a lot of peculiar things going on here. Like a lot of like weird timing.
Yeah, I mean, whistleblowers, what is the number one fear of whistleblowers? They hurt profit.
Of course.
And I mean, that is incredibly daunting to people like Zuckerberg and all these rich assholes who are madly in love with capitalism. You hear whistleblowers and you're like, holy shit, this may be going down.
But and I'm not saying you're implying this, but I don't think this was an intentional thing on Mark Zuckerberg's part because he lost $7 billion. So, I mean, unless he thought somehow the whistleblower would make him lose more. And again, for the most part, this isn't something people that follow digital rights issues, this isn't any new information. We've all known that this is what Facebook does. This is what they've always done. And it's not really like that. Like they survey everything you do, they monitor everything you do, and they feed you things that they think is going to keep you on Facebook. That's why like whenever it was like, oh, Facebook has a conservative bias because they push more conservative news sites. It's like, look, Facebook just wants to keep you on Facebook. Are the people at the top conservative people? Of course, that's not new. Mark Zuckerberg is a conservative person. I mean, maybe he votes Democrat, but he's a conservative guy as far as like, are your political views conservative or more lefty? He's conservative. He's very rich. He wants to protect his tax bracket. He's conservative. That's not anything. But Facebook, they push what's going to keep people on Facebook. So all we really learn from that is that Facebook has more conservative users, which is not surprising because Facebook is a little older than other social media platforms. And generally speaking, older age groups tend to have more conservatives in them. I know that's not everybody. I know there's tons of people on the left of all ages. I know there are tons of older lefties out there. You don't need to email me and say, Ron, I'm a big lefty and I'm a boomer. I know. I'm just saying, generally, statistically, there's more conservative leaning people in older age groups than younger. That's just statistically true. And and more older people are using Facebook. So there's more conservative people on Facebook. We all know that your uncle with his terrible viewpoints at the Thanksgiving table, that guy's using Facebook. We all know this. That guy's on Facebook the most.
But if we break it down even further, you said like a 6-hour outage lost him $7 million. So let's multiply the 6 hours into 24 hours. That's literally $28 million a day that Zuckerberg
isn't that
is
so
raising.
obnoxious? That's so fucking
28
obnoxious.
million a day.
It's so, God, it makes your head hurt that this is the kind of money this guy makes off of us. And it shouldn't. So here, let's get into, because now, there's this testimony and there's this there's this hearing, and people are looking for some solutions, and there's always a lot of bad ideas for solutions. Like, hey, let's have Mark Zuckerberg and his friends say what isn't news. Let's have them censor people. That's not the solution. That's not the answer. We are governed by two types of people when it comes to the internet and digital rights. We have two types of people: people who don't understand the internet, or people who can't handle the internet, i.e. Marjorie Taylor Greene. And those are the people who make laws around the internet. Is this a recipe for disaster? Yes. And it has been for a long freaking time. So here's what a digital rights organization who actually knows what the fuck's going on, called Fight for the Future, who, full disclaimer, I've collaborated with on a couple campaigns in the past and look forward to in the future. Here's what they have to say about this. And I like the way they sum this up. Well, what Facebook sells is not an online message board where people can express themselves. It's surveillance-driven algorithmic manipulation that's maximized for engagement. In other words, they feed you things that they want to keep you on the site. That's what they do, okay? It's not that complicated. It's what they freaking do, because they want you on the site so that they can gather more data about you. Stay on the site. We'll gather more data. We'll feed you more red meat. We'll gather more data. You get the idea. Regulating the algorithms that companies like Facebook and YouTube use to recommend can be difficult. Many policies that attempt to do so run foul of the First Amendment. Other suggestions, like changing Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act, would do more harm than good, silence the voices of marginalized communities, and could actually solidify big tech giants' monopoly power. Yet gutting Section 230 is not the answer. We've been through this many times. Gutting Section 230 would actually make it so that there's never anyone other than Facebook in the room. And if you're not sure why gutting Section 230 is a bad idea, here's a suggestion. Read the fucking thing. That's what I did. I actually read it. But here's what we can do. Congress should pass a federal data privacy law strong enough to kill Facebook's current business model entirely. Outright banning harmful algorithmic implication is hard, but lawmakers can absolutely make it illegal for big tech companies to engage in the mass surveillance and data harvesting practices that power the algorithms they use to recommend and suppress content. This is where lawmakers should focus their attention. So what does that mean? That means make it illegal for them to monitor everything you do, which is a breach of privacy. For everyone concerned about online surveillance, this is the utmost example of online surveillance. So you make it illegal. You make it illegal to treat users that way on the internet. All of a sudden, all their bullshit algorithms, they're not able to do them anymore. Because what do the algorithms rely on? Your habits online. If they can't monitor your habits online, they can't use their bullshit algorithms because they don't know what you're doing online. Problem solved. Problem solved.
Yeah, absolutely. And as someone who does not use their real last name, I started using man
I
when
thought Savage Joy was your God-given name.
well, that is,
Okay.
but man is not. That's
Oh.
the that's the different part. I have trepidation that okay, so they're getting my info of my real last name and stuff that I signed up with, and I am trying to remain quite private as someone who has, you know, who has people have tried to dox me and stuff like that, and I keep a different last name, and I'm like, okay, well, I guess my real info is out there.
Well, I happen to know for a fact your God-given name is Soul Man, and you shortened it to man to throw people off the scent. I
Yes.
I hope it's okay I said that on the air. I
And
didn't
it's
mean to.
live, so we can't even edit it
Shit. All right.
out.
Well, that wasn't my intention was not to. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna get so many like emails now.
Joy Solman. Joy Solman from Providence, Rhode Island. Now you guys know everything. You guys know everything. I'm sorry, Joy. It was an accident. I wasn't thinking. So we'll see what happens amidst these hearings. They're going on right now. I know Amy Klobuchar spoke. She talked about her horrible idea, the Safe Tech Act, which if you actually read that act, it's a terrible, terrible idea, and it's the reason YouTube went on a demonetization spree because it basically said social media companies have no liability if there's no financial transaction involved. So YouTube was like, oh, we should just demonetize as much stuff as possible just to avoid any risk. So there's a lot of bad ideas out there. Meanwhile, the good idea is just what Fight for the Future just said. Don't allow all this surveillance of people. And then all of a sudden, these algorithms don't have their usage anymore. That's it. That's all you need to do. But we're probably not going to get a policy like that, folks. Why? Because Mark Zuckerberg wouldn't want that. They've even asked him about it, and he's like, "No, that's how we make money." Like they even said something like, "Well, why don't you just not monitor people?" He's like, "Well, that's how we make money." So they're pretending like all these other things are the problems. The problems are people making these groups and websites. The problem is, people publishing this information. The problem is, no, the problem is your bullshit algorithm that you use to exploit people and make money off of people. And you are making all this money off of our freaking data. Our freaking data. And we don't see a penny of it, by the way. I mean, I'll give a shout out to an unlikely person and someone who I know you love to troll online because his Twitter feed is very cringe.
No.
Andrew Yang brought that up. Andrew Yang brought that up. You got to give credit where it's due. Andrew Yang did bring that up. I don't like him that much either, but he did bring that up. We should be getting money for it.
I digress, but when Amy Klobuchar talked about this, was she in a blizzard?
No, she just sounded like she was because whenever she talks, it sounds like. Why does she always sound like she just got done crying when she talks?
Yes.
I'm not even trying to be mean. I'm just like honest. Like there's something. Like every time she talks, you're like, "Are you okay?" Like she sounds like
Well,
someone just yelled at her, and it's like,
what
why did someone yell at you? Like I don't agree with a lot of your ideas, but I wouldn't start screaming at you to make
did
you
somebody
cry.
throw a binder at you? How about
Right?
a stapler?
Was the
Like,
binder full of women? What
yeah.
was in the
So,
binder?
when she was running for president, she told that fucking awful joke every damn day where it's like, I was in a blizzard and I told Trump, at least my hair moves in a blizzard.
Well, I think her most cringe moment was when she did that whole "my Spanish name is Elena."
Oh my
to
God.
like a group of like Latino and Hispanic workers. She goes, "My Spanish name is Elena," or whatever. And everyone was like, "Oh wow, oh boy."
Wow.
But yeah, she also has terrible ideas when it comes to tech. So let's move on to some strike news, and this has to do with oh wait, where is the oh yeah, here it is. The IATSE has voted to go on strike. Now that stands for the is it international? Yes, international is the first one. I wasn't sure of the first one. It's International Alliance of Theatrical Stage Employees. And they voted. It was a hell of a vote, actually. Here we go. Let's check this out. It was in 89.66% turnout. So that's all the members who voted. And out of all the votes, 98.68% voted yes. So they voted yes. Now, this
Wow.
doesn't mean they're on strike, as the AFL CIO pointed this out. Now, strike authorization does not mean workers are automatically on strike. It means they voted to strike. So, they got to figure out what the next steps are, but it's not like they're on strike right now. Basically, they're going to hopefully get to the negotiation table and figure out what's going to come next to either avoid a strike or they'll move forward with the strike. Now, there's a number of reasons why this is happening. One of the big ones is so back in the day when Netflix and all these online centric entities were new, they would somehow in the industry, well, not somehow, but in the industry, they would be what were considered experimental projects or new media projects. What that meant was basically they didn't have the backing of a big cable network. And this was back in the day when cable networks were the big man on campus. They still are in many ways, but Netflix and all these other entities, they were new ideas. They were new, and no one knew if anyone's going to watch this stuff. No one knew what the hell it was. I know that's hard to imagine, but we all remember that day when we were like, Netflix, what the hell is that? Like we didn't know what it was. You were like, I get DVDs in the mail, huh? So they were considered these experimental media projects. And what that meant was stage hands and other workers were expected to take less money because they didn't have the backing of the big cable networks. Here's the deal. Now we could go back and forth over whether that's okay or not okay. But the point is, in 2021, they're still trying to get away with that. Meaning an entity like Netflix is still saying, well, we're an experimental media thing, so you should get paid less. And it's like, wait a second. You're Netflix. You have as much, if not more, resources than a lot of the cable television networks or any television network for that matter. But they're still trying to get away with this. Oh, yeah, we're experimental media. Remember that we're this obscure thing no one knows about. No, you're fucking not. No, you're not anymore. That doesn't apply anymore. There's nothing. You've won. But Netflix and not just Netflix, but like Hulu, so basically, quote unquote, experimental media, that's where most of the work is now, but they're still trying to get away with, oh, we're new and we're risky. We're not like the cable networks. Like that'd be like someone being like, oh yeah, we're just a podcast. We're not on terrestrial radio. We don't have the power of this AM station that has an antenna that reaches 25 feet. We're just on the internet, so we can't possibly pay what they can afford the big bucks. And by the way, I'm not saying that these big cable networks don't still have a ton of money. Of course they do. But this idea that Netflix or Hulu is somehow the little guy so they can pay people less, that is absolute bullshit. But that's what they're trying to get away with. And that's one of the reasons these people are going on strike. And this is thousands and thousands of workers. They're also demanding living wages. They're demanding proper breaks. And here's the thing. They're being priced out of the places where they live. A lot of this work is in places like Los Angeles, New York, San Francisco, and I can tell you firsthand, rent ain't cheap here, and they're not getting paid the wages that they need to survive here. So they're going on strike.
That's absolutely incredible. I actually didn't know that. I didn't realize that. Wow,
That's what they're doing.
disgusting.
Yeah, so it's like, even though that's where most of the work is, they make this claim like, "Oh, yeah, we're a new we're experimental." I think the experiment's over and it succeeded, and, you should pay people, you know?
And right now, and you know this, being a touring comedian, right now there are so many artists who are hurting. I mean, there are
Yeah.
so many artists who, be it comedians, musicians, whoever, who are hanging on by a thread. And then you're taking people who do have a job and you're cutting their wages and treating
Mhm.
them horribly. That's so disgusting.
Well, as somebody who has canceled 2 years worth of tour dates, including, a tour that's supposed to be happening right now, yes, I know what you're referring to. I
I
can
was
relate.
gonna see you Saturday.
That's oh, shit. Oh, now I'm sad. Now I'm just depressed. Oh, I try not to think about it. I try not to think about where yeah. Graham and I were on the phone a couple days ago. We were just like, "Oh, yeah, we should be wrapping up a show in Tucson right now." That's what we thought we were gonna be doing. Ouch. 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 But I'm gonna get back out there. It's
Damn
gonna
right you
happen.
are.
It's gonna happen, and I'll just cherish everything in the meantime. But anyway, so they're probably gonna go on strike. I mean, uh, unless their demands are met, which, the thing with every strike, and by the way, I support the TSE 110%. The thing with all these strikes, what they all have in common, people are asking for things they shouldn't have to ask for. It should just be things like, living wages, proper breaks, proper pay. That this shouldn't we shouldn't and this is why I advocate for a general strike. And we are seeing a lot of strikes happen at micro levels, which is good. But my thing is, because sometimes people say like, well, if we keep seeing all these micro strikes, could we maybe avoid a general strike? Let me ask you first, what do you think about that?
I'm, I'm kind of conflicted. I mean, I was the lead national organizer on the 56 Medicare for All marches, and I'm so fucking proud of what we accomplished. General strike, I support, but I do fear that general means people do have different priorities. Like my priority is Medicare for all. This person's priority is higher wages. And we all support the same things, but is each topic, is each issue going to be addressed? Is each issue going to be acknowledged and spoken about with the speakers there? Things like that. So if so, I think it would be a lot more cohesive. But I think just having a couple thousand people saying general strike, I
Yeah.
don't think it's uh, going to be advantageous in any type of change per se.
You're not wrong. I mean, I agree with you 110%. The thing is, though, you gotta start somewhere.
You
I
do.
mean, I advocate for a general strike. That doesn't mean I think it will be easy. That doesn't mean I don't think we need a ton of things in place. And we do. We need mutual aid networks. We need a list of demands. And that's kind of what you're talking about. We need a list of
Exactly.
clear demands. We need we need to really carve out what that means exactly. Like, a general strike doesn't literally mean nobody is working at all. It means that people have their obligation in their place to do what they need to do to get us through this. And so that society has to meet our demands. We need to shut down society in a way that they have to meet our demands. That's what a general strike is. That's what a general strike's all about. So it's not going to
And
be an
are the demands going to be the same across the United States?
yeah.
I don't see that happening because, which is cool, but they don't have any actual like main organizers. It really is just like freestyle, like different cities and stuff, which is cool. But that that kind of implies there's going to be no um solidarity as far as, are the demands going to be the same? They should be.
Right.
It should be, not just Harrisburg, Pennsylvania is asking for this, and New York is asking for this. It's going to take away from the purpose of all doing it nationwide on the same exact day if they're not, you know, uh,
Well, see, I think a general strike needs to focus on the big picture agendas. I mean, and that's the thing. Like, so, like, getting back to like what we're talking about as far as micro strikes and a general strike, can one potentially avoid the other? I see them as serving different needs. And all these micro strikes, they're good. I'm thrilled about them. I support them. And what they will do is they will lead to better working conditions. And if enough people do it, like, yeah, we'll see better wages, we'll see better working conditions. And that is essential and that is huge and that is good. A general strike, I think, goes a step further, though, and a general strike is necessary to see true systemic change. So I think the purpose of a general strike is to demand universal health care, to demand an end to the wars, to demand bold climate action. You don't have micro demands in something like a general strike. I mean, yeah, you demand living wages across the board, but it's going to be more a federally enforceable thing. Like the federal minimum wage is now $20 an hour, or 20. I mean, it should be higher than that. It should be like $23 an hour.
Yeah,
That
and I
those are the types
do.
of demands a general strike has, and I think that we can't avoid that. I mean, we need that.
Yeah, I absolutely support a general strike, and you know, they that's a lot more like what they do in Paris and places like that where they're just like getting in the street.
Places with way higher qualities of life.
Yeah,
Places
they're just like
places where workers are treated better, where they yeah. It's weird. Isn't that a weird trend? Isn't that a weird
it
like
is.
whenever people shit on strikes, I'm just like, yeah, it only has a 106% success rate, pretty much. Whenever a strike is carried out properly, it never fails. I'm not saying that strike attempts have not failed. Of course, plenty have. But like whenever a strike is properly orchestrated and they're able to carry it out. And sometimes you're just not able to carry it out, and especially here in the States, and it's by design. You make people desperate enough, striking is not really a possibility for them. And that's
Right.
a big part of the problem we're having. But whenever a strike is really carried out and the bosses are feeling it in their pocketbook, it has 100% success rate.
Yeah, and that's why I think there is so much um to be advantageous by calling out these companies by name, which the general strike would not do. So like, teachers unions, they strike, boom, they get what they're asking for because you are calling out specific districts, specific people. Amazon, they still suck, they're garbage, but they did bump up to 15 because they were being called out personally. Like, these companies, when you hold them specifically accountable, they I mean, they can't say, oh, not us, like they're the ones being named. So
Right.
I think the general strike is freaking awesome. I fully support it, and I do think it will be like an example that we're going to learn from to what we can do better next time.
Yeah. I mean, first we got to try to pull one off. And that's not going to be easy. And I mean, I don't know all the ins and outs of pulling one off. I don't know any one person who does. But in the meantime, these strikes in different industries are huge to see because one scratches the other's back. And like when you have all these strikes where like these workers are just like, we're fed up and we're not going to take it anymore. Then it's like, okay, and this is what we demand from society as a whole. These are, this is what the truck drivers are demanding. This is what the workers in show business are demanding. This is what the teachers are demanding. This is what, and this is what society is demanding. And that's where a general strike comes in. So I hope that they get the IATSE. That doesn't flow. That does not, it's like one of those things. A lot of the things, like you don't think about them often, and you don't say it out loud often. You just see it on paper, and then when you go to say it, you're like, yeah, that's you stumble over that.
It's a
That
lot.
you
It's a lot
stumble
of
over
letters.
that. Yeah, like you want to say a at the end of it. Like you want to say IATSA. Like that flows a little, even though TSA's in it. Ooh. But
Yeah.
but it's almost like you slip IATSE. Like that's just, I mean, the vowels there I think throw you off a little bit. But I hope they get everything they want and then some.
IATSE.
And this is awesome to see.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right on.
Peace, love, and a general strike. Joy, where can everybody go to learn more about you? Refresh everyone who may have missed the special announcement at the beginning of the show.
Yeah, so I have so much going on. So you can find me on Twitter at Savage Joy Marie One. You can find my new solo YouTube at if you just type in Savage Joy Marie Man. I have over 400 shows uploaded that I've done throughout the past 4 years. If you hit playlists, and that is where I do my new shows as well. I have a show tonight at 9 Eastern. And as I announced in the beginning of this, I am going to be doing a weekly show on Populous Voice Network, which is Compton Jay's network, and that's going to be at 9:30 Eastern every Monday, and it is PM. We still have our Shitlib parody book, and that is at savageandpat.com. And as far as that book goes, I'm so excited because Pat, my co-author, and me will be traveling to LA this month to do a book signing at the comedy club Flappers. And we will also be having comedians Rick Overton, Jimmy Dore, Steph, his wife, and I will be doing comedy for the first time, which is so insane. But it's going to be like one-time deal. It's a bucket list. That's it. But you can get tickets to the book signing / comedy show at flappers.com online. I hope to see you there. It's October 24th, which is a Sunday. And I just hope to meet so many comrades and come see Jimmy and Rick and Steph and us. And Pat and I get to meet for the first time. We wrote a book together, but we never met.
Yeah, that's funny. You guys will meet each other in person for the first time.
Oh, and I know you guys who watch that time of the month always get a kick out of the fact that I've never done the pod in my life. And Ron and I are going to try to meet up.
Yes. Yeah, I got some appropriate, I got some like first time appropriate stuff. So
He's
yeah,
gonna pop my pot cherry.
That's waiting for you. Yeah, I went in and I said I'm looking for something for a first timer, and then I shopped accordingly.
And she's
so yeah.
42.
You know what? I actually think I did mention that to the guy. I think I did mention that. I'm like, look, man, she's 42 years old and she's never tried it before, and he's like, all right, I got you.
Nerd. Yeah, and she's like so not cool.
I didn't say that.
Cool kid.
I think I just said like a grown. I mean, part of it was I didn't want the guy to be like, yeah, my little nephew just turned 18 and I'm gonna, you know what I mean?
I just gave my 8-year-old son this.
Yeah, right. Like I was like, no, it's a friend of mine. She's a grown woman and it's just never crossed her path. But I would like an edible that would be appropriate for her. And so yeah, I have something that I think will you'll like it. I think. Well, I mean, unless you hate it, which you might, in which case we won't give you a lot of it.
I may let him go live for a few minutes. And I just want to say a disclaimer, I am not responsible for anything I end up saying. I don't know what kind of effect it's gonna have on me. So
I mean, I can tell you this much. I've said way more. I mean, in my lifetime, I have said way more stupid things drunk than I have high.
Well, my husband said the first time he tried pot, he really convinced himself he pooped his pants. And that is like my
Really?
worst nightmare.
Pooping your pants or thinking you pooped your
Yeah,
pants?
that would be awful. I don't want
That's
to poop
a
my pants, and I don't want to think I poop my pants either.
yeah. I mean, that's an awkward question to ask somebody to like, "Hey, did I poop my pants?" I've never heard of anyone having that reaction. I mean, the first time I tried, I mean, I was young. I was like 12 or whatever, and the first time I tried it, I didn't like it because it just made me really lethargic and it made me really lazy, and I just didn't wanna get off the couch, and I didn't like that, and part of it was I was very young. I also, I mean, this was, like, the suburbs in Western Pennsylvania, so I'm pretty sure I did not have decent stuff, but, um but, yeah, I never thought I might have shit myself. I've never thought that on anything, really, but,
We'll be at the beach, so I'll probably just roll around in the sand like, "Oh my god, I love everyone."
that's true, yeah. I mean, if we find some beach time, yeah, if you think you're like, "Did I shit myself?" Like, well, we don't know, Joy, but just go jump in the water and
Go
that'll
in the
take care of that.
water and
It's,
cleanse.
our waters have been through a lot as of recent. We reported on that on the show yesterday.
Yeah.
A little Joy droppings. It's been through a lot worse. It's been through a lot worse as of recent. Oh, glad we got here. Glad we got here. Everybody follow Joy. Follow Savage Joy. Check out all of our new shows. And thank you again for popping in for that time of the month, Joy. And
Thank you so much.
yeah, I look forward to seeing you while you're out here. And congrats on all the new developments. That's exciting stuff.
Thank you so much. I adore you to pieces, and I can't wait to hang out again. And I'm so excited to go to California for the first time.
Callie, you're going to have a good time. It's a fun
Yes.
time. All right. I'll see you later.
Thank you.
All right. Savage Joy, everybody. You know the drill. She's here once a month for that time of the month. Follow her. Check out her new show on Compton Jay's network. That's exciting stuff. Let me do a couple quick chats here and some GoFundMe thank yous before we get out of here. Venetia, what's up? How are you, Venetia? I hope everything is going very well for you out in the UK. Pretty sure you're out in the UK. Hope all's well in the UK. I hope Lucy is feeling better. Here's some cash to buy some treats for her. Thank you so much for that. Thank you very much for the Super Chat contribution. You help keep this show on the air. And Lucy is feeling better. Thank you all for, I know some of you in the chat were asking for some Lucy updates. She is feeling better. She is basically, she had to take some tests to make sure that the medicine she's on is working the way it needs to. So we're waiting for the results. It takes a couple days, but it seems like it's working the way it's supposed to. She has seemed more like herself. Now, something has been upsetting her stomach, and the vet thinks it was likely a reaction from one of the medications she had, and so we're working on fixing that. And so far, she's taken this other liquid that should counteract that, and that seems to have done the job, and we'll have to be more careful going forward. But so far, I've noticed already an improvement in her energy. I mean, obviously, she was a little aloof when she got back from the vet because she had to undergo a bunch of tests and stuff like that. So she was a little woozy, but you know, I got to give her credit. She's not a young cat, as you all know, but she still was trying to do everything she does. Like, she was trying to jump around and stuff, but she was kind of aloof because she was just at the vet and she just had all these tests. So she was like missing jumps. We were like, just relax, stop trying, just chill out. But she didn't want to chill out. So, but she had a lot of energy this morning. She was a lot more like herself, which was awesome to see. Not that she was totally not herself, but it was obvious, like, okay, she's having a reaction to something. We got to figure this out. And we, of course, got to make sure everything's working, which is why she was at the vet yesterday. Um, but yeah, she already seems to have a little more energy, which is great. And she's getting better. And thank you all for asking. Seriously, when she was sick, y'all made me cry. I'm not in a good way. Like y'all, I mean, the messages and the well wishes and the tweets and the emails, and you guys move me to tears, and I will never forget that. And thank you so much. It means more than you probably realize, because if you watch this show and listen to the show, you know I'm a very doting cat guy when it comes to my girl Lucy. And so all the love and support you guys have sent, it really touched me. It really did. Thank you so much. So thank you for that. Thank you for that, Phoenicia, and everybody. Thank you so freaking much for that. It really does mean the world. All right. Now, as you guys know, I dropped the GoFundMe link in the chat. I am still raising funds to make my movie, and y'all have been very awesome with that. We're gonna be starting the movie soon. I had a meeting with a couple film folks. I know that's vague, film folks, but we're going to be breaking ground pretty soon, thanks to you. So that GoFundMe is still going, and we still do need your help. There's all kinds of cool stuff we're doing for everyone who gives. And one of them is, of course, we're saying thank you. So thank you to Private. We got another Private. Thank you, Private, for your donation. If you list your name as Private, I'm just going to assume you don't want me to actually say your name, which I understand. That's fine. But Private, know that I appreciate you. And of course, I'll be sending you a note where I send everyone a note. So thank you very much for that, Private. And Catherine Kip. Thank you so much. Catherine's someone I know in my personal life, and she's been a dear friend for most of my life at this point. So thank you very much for that. And I really hope you like my movie when it comes out. I hope all you like this movie when it comes out. And you can check that out on my pinned Twitter. You can check it out on my YouTube channel. And you can just go to GoFundMe.com and type in Left at Wall, and the film comes up. Check out the trailer. If you want to make a contribution, that's awesome. If you don't want to, or you're not able to, that's fine too. Just check out the trailer, because I want everyone to see this thing when it comes out, and I want everyone to be excited about it. Thank you guys so much for being here. And in the meantime, you know the drill. Thank you again, Venetia. Oh, Kate, what's up? Animals' fake health do not look like easy prey. Animals' fake health do not look like easy prey. Oh, I know what you're saying. Yeah, I worry about that sometimes. Like sometimes I'm worried, like, is she actually okay? Or is she just kind of, but I'd like to think at this point, I kind of know the difference. I know when she's not quite herself. I know when she is genuinely sick. I know when she is, it's not like one of these things where I'm like, she's purring, she's fine. I know that she can still be affectionate and she can still kind of do some stuff, but she's not quite herself. But I'd like to think I know what her deal is. So I do think she keeps getting better and better, which is good. But I hear what you're saying. She'll be back to 100% soon. I think so too. And yeah. And for some of you, I know your cats are going through some stuff and they're getting better. I'm thrilled to hear that. Crouching Dragon, thrilled to hear that your 15-year-old is getting better. Lucy is also 15. And yeah, so that's awesome. They're getting better. And thank you so much for that. Any update on the M4M for All UN petition submitted? That's a great question. And we will have to follow up on that, Kate. I'm not sure. But I know Joy is involved with that. We will have to definitely follow up on that. Because yeah, basically they submitted a petition to the UN declaring that it's a serious violation that we don't have universal health care in the United States, to try to get the UN involved, which I think is a badass idea. So yeah, we'll see where all that goes. Thank you for bringing that up, Kate. So thank you very much, Kate. Thank you very much, Venetia. Thank you all for helping to keep this show on the air. And in the meantime, you know the drill. Lucy, she says meow, and I say peace. Peace.